Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures. Today we're going to be continuing in the G.I. Joe Classified series. As I have a big shipment coming from US, I have to quickly go through the previous figures that I received, so I'm going to be focusing on the G.I. Joe Classified series. So this is of course Snake Eyes version 4. It is a bit surprising that they decided to go with this figure before doing the version 3 of it, but I can understand. This figure did have a bit of a success and did come out in many versions, and I'll be talking about it in the history of this figure. So if we turn the box, we have an interesting drawing over here. We can see he is number 165 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. Behind the box, it's the standard boxes where we have a picture with a little diorama explaining also some of the close-up pictures, and we also get sometimes some teasers of future releases. Of course, these are not future releases. This is 3/4 inch fangs, the ones that were available from Walmart. These were those exclusive ones. Over here, this is the standard packaging with his 4 military specialties. QR code that brings you to an old website that does not have much information. Now that we have talked about the boxing of the figure, let's have a closer look at the history of this figure. Now, of course, talking about history, here is my mint in box, Snake Eyes version 4. So this one came out, it was in 1991. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's the right year that it came out. As you can see, it is very similar to the figure. They really did a pretty good job in doing it. So these were the figures that had these launchers, equipment. Not my favorite stuff, and became very fantasized with orange weapons. The same thing goes for his sword that he got. He's got 2 of them. There's not much of a place to put it. There's the grappling hook that fits in with the string that this fires off. It's maybe a nice gadget, but didn't really like it. As you can see, those were $2.99 back in the days. So let's spin the box around. So you can see there's a few figures over there. Of course, one of my favorites, Big Ben. I'll be doing the review about him pretty soon. So you can put a pause if you want to have a closer look at his file card. Then afterwards, in the 25th anniversary, surprisingly, they didn't do much. And the only thing they did, they came out with this one, the Snake Eyes Commando, like they called it. And this is the version that we got for the 25th anniversary. Now, there's another figure also that came out, and I do not have it over here. It's somewhere in the warehouse. And that one would be the Snake Eyes who came out in 1992, who was following the 12-inch line that they tried to reintroduce, the Hall of Fame line. And he was in the second wave. The first wave was, of course, Duke, and then we got 4 other figures, and Snake Eyes was one of them. And what was interesting, you could remove the mask, and he had this huge scar going down. You could just see this part where the goggles are was unmasked, and he had a scar in front of it that I found pretty cool. So, now that we've talked about the history of this figure, let's have a look at what we get in the box. So, of course, we get our Snake Eyes over here. We get the little attachment to put his 2 swords on his back. We get 2 different swords over here. Well, 2 different, both the same. We get the MP5 over here with the silencer. And, of course, we get the grappling hook and the cord that goes with it. So, pretty interesting what we're getting with it. Of course, there's a bit of a remembering what we got back in the days. So let's have a closer look at all of that. Now, jumping into the figure itself, as you can see, the mask is pretty well detailed. Would I have liked to have it been able to remove it to go back to the Hall of Fame figure? Would have been a nice little add-on. We have a tactical vest, as you can see over here. And going around, not much behind. Of course, you can see on his legs, yes, I'm showing knives, and of course he has a holster for his MP5, a little clip. Of course, it's a bit of a shame that they didn't go on to some more pouches that would look like being able to carry the MP5 versions of the mags than having this kind of pouches. This looks like standard pouches that you would get for an AR-15 rifle or an M16 back in the days. So yeah, then afterwards we have some interesting inscription over here. So both of these translate if you use Google Translate. Japanese or Chinese, but this would make more sense to be Japanese than Chinese, due to the fact that ninjas were part of the Oriental mythology and of course also the traditions in Japan. So of course this would transport into Fujin, who is a monster-like figure, the god of wind. So that is the translation of these armbands over here. So that's kind of interesting to know that he has this kind of inscriptions. I don't think the inscriptions were exactly the same from what I can see over here, so I don't know. I did not try to translate those, but I thought it was really nice touch from Hasbro to give us, of course, this little touch on the figure itself and adding that. So of course, if we can have a look at the feet, he has this kind of ninja. Let's see if I can get it in properly. So he has these ninja shoes where you can put a throwing knife or shuriken over there to be thrown. It's more of a little detail that has been done. If we go on to the gun over here, so the gun is already something that has been done. This MP5 was given with Xamox and Tamax. The silencer of course comes off, and the mag does also come off. I guess the little red is a little reminder of the colors that were the original ones. We have two blades over here. I don't know if they wanted to give some blood effects or not, but this is how they look. Or wanted to go back to a throwback of the red. I think it's interesting, but would not make much sense that you would put this kind of red on the blades, because that's where the cutting part is. So I don't understand why they would do it. This is of course a backpack. This has already been used with Agent Alex, and I think also with the Blue Ninjas from Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the grappling hook, who is also with Arctic Storm Shadow and also with the Blue Ninjas from Walmart. So now that we had a look at it, I'm going to tell you if I think this figure is a collectible item, what are my final thoughts about this figure, and also my note out of 10. So while I'm going to be gearing up this figure and showing you some of the little details that they have, we're going to be talking about the if I think this is a collectible item. Now, I think it always does have a little bit of collectible value, because let's be honest, it's of course Snake Eyes. So yeah, this is something that you can really see with every kind of Snake Eyes figure. Of course, this one will be coming out in the retro card, so I guess the one who will be with the retro card might have a better interest on it. So yeah, it is a kind of a collectible item. And also, I haven't seen this one really going on clearance, so maybe something worth picking up if you're a fan of Snake Eyes. The figure itself is not too bad, and I will be giving you why certain issues that I have with this figure in my final thoughts. So here are my final thoughts and my notes out of 10 for this figure while he's spinning around, and you can admire him under the different angles. Now, what do I think about this figure, and do I really like him? Well, there's a few issues that I do have with this figure. Again, this is a classified series figure. This is not a retro line, so wanting to go into bringing a few little updates is an interesting idea, as the little throwing knives or the holster, who's not that kind of good, because after a little while the gun's going to fall out due to the fact that it's soft plastic, and for now it hasn't. Also, another big issue that I have with it, the backpack who comes with this sword is not maybe the best either, because it was done for figures who didn't have a vest like Snake Eyes over here, so it has also a tendency of popping out and falling over. So yeah, I do think that it's a bit of a shame. Now again, we're talking about a commando, we're talking about supposedly one of the best G.I. Joe figures out there, and again we end up with the same problem with most of the G.I. Joes. He does not have a secondary weapon. A pistol would have been nice to be added to it. I'm not saying knives, he does have some that are not removable or throwing knives. Yeah, I would like to have seen maybe some ammo pouches on it, and taking a bit more daring approach onto these figures. I mean, this is supposed to be a classified. This should be reinvented as a newer figure and inspired from the old one. I can see where they went with it, but I'm not very impressed if I compare it to the dollar figure that came out in the 25th anniversary line. So yeah, it's there's a lot of issues, but otherwise, overall, I do like the look of the figure. I found him cool when I was a lot younger in the Hall of Fame line, so I guess I might have a bit of a nostalgic effect. But overall, I'm going to be giving this figure a 7 out of 10 because of all the missing items and the different opportunities that we could have got for this figure. So let me know if you agree with my review. Did you purchase it? Are you going to purchase it? Did you have it when you were younger, or did you buy it in the Real American Hero line? Let me know in the comments section. Let's start a conversation around this figure and this review. So that's going to be it for my review of Snake Eyes version 4, number 165 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. If you like this kind of review, please leave a like, share, comment in the section, share this video. It's really important to bring up the numbers of views on the channel, so it helps me get monetized. Also, if you want to go and check out my Facebook page, you can go and do it. I have some pictures also on Instagram, but not really using it. So go to the description of the video. You're going to find all the links necessary for these links. So until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.